Last month, in an industry event, Minister for Electronics and IT Ashwini Vaishnav said, India's own 5G network is in its final stages of development, and the country is also parallelly participating in the development of 6G standards. Up next is a panel discussion on India's Atmanirbhar roadmap for 5G and 6G standards, academia and industry. I would like to invite Muntazir Abbas, editor, The Economic Times Telecom, to moderate the discussion. Please take the conversation ahead, Muntazir. Over to you.
Hello and welcome to the ETTelecom 5G Congress 2022. Today we are going to discuss India's Atmanirbhar or self-reliance roadmap for next generation technologies. To talk more on the subject, we have a panel of eminent speakers. We have Mr. Rajkumar Upadhyay, Executive Director, Center for Development of Telematics. Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, Chairman, Telecommunications Consultant India Limited. And Professor Abhay Karandikar, Director, IIT-Kanpur. Thank you all for joining us today. So let me go back first to Professor Karandikar. Thank you, sir, for taking out time. Let me first, ask you the role of academia in especially R&D activities as we talk more of 5G, and 5G is just around the corner. So what is the role that you see academia could play in R&D activities?
So as you know that, academia, especially, the IITs have been, have been at the forefront of research in wireless communications for the last several years. In fact, I, along with others like Professor Bhaskar Ramamurthy, from IIT Madras, played a significant role in setting up the India's Standards Development Organization, that is TSDSI, Telecom Standards Development Society of India, right, which has now become an organizational partner of 3GPP. So academia has played a role in terms of making original contributions to the standards bodies through TSDSI to 3GPP. For example, as you know, that a lot of contributions were done by the teams from IIT Bombay, IIT Madras, IIT Hyderabad, CVIT, and which has gone even into the 5G standards. So even going forwards, I believe that academia has a role to play in terms of making research-based contributions in the next generation telecom standards. Maybe, now beyond 5G, it will go up to 6G and so on. And secondly, the other role that academia can play is to engage into collaborative R&D along with the industry in developing the test beds and technology for the next generation telecommunications. So I think these are really the important roles that academia can play in terms of state-of-the-art R&D in making our country self-reliant.
Mr. Upadhyay, thanks, sir, for taking out time. The government has already laid out an ambitious program for Atmanirbhar Bharat, and we have a PLI scheme to support that. So being a state-run R&D organization, how C-DoT is actually complementing these efforts?
Thank you, Mr. Abbas. Thank you for the opportunity. See, we are an R&D organization, and we develop many technologies. As far as the PLI scheme of the government is concerned, it's a wonderful scheme. Already 31 companies have been given PLI incentives, are being given PLI incentives. And I'm happy to note that out of 31, 16 companies are MSMEs. And balance 15, 8 are domestic companies and 7 are global companies. An investment of, the incentive of around 12,000 crore with 1.82 lakh crore incremental production with an investment of 3,345 crore and a creation of 40,000 jobs. It's a wonderful scheme, and I'm sure this scheme is going to create global champions from our country. we as C-DoT, immediately after the PLI was announced, and we started interacting with these companies. And in fact, we held a workshop. Our secretary sir inaugurated that workshop. Additional secretary was that Anita Praveen madam also participated in that. We invited all these companies to C-DoT campus. It was a face-to-face event. I mean, some of them attended in hybrid mode. So the point here was, since you are getting into manufacturing, any of the technology what C-DoT has, you can easily take it over from us. So that therefore that was the incentive, and we took them around our labs. We showed them what all products are there, what all products can be taken, and we are working with few of them materialized. We are working. But the other thing I would like to add, that post this PLI scheme, the DLI scheme came from IT. That was design-led incentive, and that is fantastic, because in PLI it was focus was on manufacturing. It doesn't matter where from your technology comes, you need to manufacture in India. But DLI is a design-led. Your design also, Indian design also should go. If we really want to be Atmanirbhar, I think Indian designs also should come up. So MIT came up with DLI scheme. It's a wonderful scheme in the area of semiconductor design. DOT also shortly is coming with a DLI scheme for 5G and CPs and all those things. So DLI and PLI added together is definitely going to help our R&D ecosystem as well as manufacturing ecosystem to develop further. And from the C-DoT side, we are committed to transfer any of our technologies, whichever companies in India want. We have n number of technologies. Our technologies will be available. Not only earlier, we used to give only hardware designs. Now, in fact, we are ready to share source code also. We will be ready to share source code so that the customization can be done by the Indian industry. And I look forward to this opportunity given to this particular ecosystem, and I look forward for great collaboration with the industry in coming days.
Sure. So this transfer of technology would basically go to the Indian companies, right?
Yeah, only Indian companies. Yeah, that's true. The transfer of technology source code. For example, router. We have been supplying router to the defense, DRDO and all. So now if somebody wants to take up the router manufacturing, we will give the hardware design, software design, whatever it is. They can customize it further for their customers. So it may not be on an exclusive basis. It may be a non-exclusive basis, so that more and more companies take these designs and softwares and customize. We will support them. We will help them. And we are also coming up with the new policy, TOT policy, in which we are setting up startup centers, acceleration centers, incubation centers in C-DoT campus itself. So we will be able to help these startups, including even we are ready to fund them. The only requirement is that the R&D, what they come up, the proposals, what they bring should align with our R&D focus in the country. So primarily for 5G, 6G, a lot of research will be funded by C-DoT itself.
Sure. So moving to Mr. Kumar, so since you represent a very dynamic organization called TCIL, so just wanted to understand from you, we have a form like C-DoT and standards for the TSDSI. So how you are looking at, accelerating 4G and 5G products and bringing them to a center stage. So what's your strategy to, globally market them?
Thank you, Abbas. TCIL is closely working with C-DoT for various product lines. Like it's a video conferencing solutions or Samvad messaging solutions, IoT, their IoT products, video analytics software, their routers, their DWDM equipment, PM1E technology, and we are eagerly waiting successful completion of the POC which C-DoT is doing with BSNL for 4G core network, and will be more than keen to deploy as soon as this POC is over there, because C-DoT core has many innovative features which are not available in even a MNC product. And the best feature which I would like to mention here is the converged core, which can work for both fixed and mobile network, and it is very cost effective compared to the product offering from a MNC company. So that's a uniqueness they have. And once like company like BSNL जो है, or any other telcos है, which has both fixed and mobile service offerings है, this converged core will give them a lot of leverage जो है, in offering both fixed and mobile service from the same network in terms of reduction of capex and opex जो है, and various innovative solutions.
Sure. Sir, since the formation of 5G high-level forum in 2017, so we have hearing some sort of disconnect between the academy and industry. So going forward, how are you addressing this challenge?
See, earlier there has been, not so much interactions between the academia and the industry. But of late, and I would say that setting up of the telecom centers of excellence was the first step where academia started getting engaged with the telecom service providers. But now, we are definitely engaged with the industry, particularly, the Indian industry, like, for example, C-DoT or Tejas Networks or Sankhya Labs or TCS, or even with several multinationals like Qualcomm or Samsung or Nokia. Now, several projects are running in different IITs, which are being sponsored by the industry, and even in standards contributions, there have been discussions and collaborations with the industry. So now I see that we have a good environment, good ecosystem, and also the willingness for the academia to do the translational research. And I think going forward, there is a lot of scope to get engaged with the industry. The other thing is that almost all IITs, academia now have incubators, which are incubating now startups. So a lot of research which is being done by faculty members is also getting commercialized through startups. So there is a startup culture as well. So now I think we are really entering it into a era where there is a good ecosystem for industry academia engagement.
So coming back to Mr. Upadhyay, so we have been hearing a lot of good news about indigenous.Core and your efforts in that direction. So as it is likely to be deployed in BSNL commercial network, so what is your strategy going forward when it comes to 5G, both NSA and SA?
First of all, I'm very happy to report that our POC is almost complete and successfully complete. As Mr. Sanjeev said, the beauty of our core is a converged core. What we mean by converged core? The same core can service mobile telephones, same core can service landlines, same cores can service Wi-Fi calling, same core can service FTTH. So whatever be the nature of your access, all the access are integrated in the C-DoT core. And as he rightly pointed out, it will be cost effective. And the another biggest advantage is it works on a commercially available off-the-shelf hardware. Unlike many of the vendors, you are logged in with them for the hardware also. If one card goes faulty, you need to really request them, you send a replacement, AMC and all that. In our case, it is you bring Dell server, Sun server, IBM server, HP server. It will work in all of them. And
so you are following sort of open architecture.
Yeah, it's a basically cloud, the cloud architecture. Virtualized means,
right.
For example, P gateway, S gateway will be running in multiple servers. Even if one server goes down, doesn't matter. The service will still run from another servers.
Sure.
It's highly virtualized. Therefore, the functions are not limited to a particular hardware. They are, provisioned in different servers. So therefore, even if something goes down, one server goes down, the service will not come to halt. Unlike in vendor logged in hardwares, where if the one card goes, this whole unit will come down and your right. Service may deteriorate or service may even totally go down. So that's the beauty. So given this success, I think we expect BSNL to soon launch, once after these commercial agreements have to be put in place for, a formal order has to come, and we expect somewhere by August, the service should start in BSNL. That's what is my guess. But of course, BSNL will be in a better position to answer that. Related to regarding 5G, yes. While we were doing our POC, we were also working on a 5G. The 5G has two parts: 5G NSA, 5G SA. As far as the 5G NSA is concerned, we will launch in BSNL network by August 2022. So I think when they really start service, it will be 4G plus 5G.
So now it's confirmed. Independence Day, we are going to get this big news.
Yes, the 5G NSA core will be ready by Independence Day. So we should, I think BSNL should launch 4G and 5G NSA together by this Independence Day. As far as the SA is concerned, because the NSA doesn't give you all kind of features which are supported in 5G. So therefore, SA development is also in progress. We would like to close this SA deployment by next year, third quarter. So by third quarter, we expect that our SA core also will be out. And as Sanjeev ji was telling, that once it is deployed in BSNL, such a vast network, countrywide network, I'm sure that there will be a lot of market available to us with our partners. And we look forward for partnership with TCIL, TCS, I mean, anybody who, like in this particular project, TCS is the lead consortium partner who has stitched together the solution, C-DoT-Core, Tejas RAN, and OSS, BSS, SON, Synops, all the hops, all those kind of. So today, if any operator wants a 4G solution and tomorrow it will become 5G solution, under one shop, you will find everything, right from billing, BSS, OSS. I mean, you name anything. Today, they are all disaggregated. Something comes from Keenan, something comes from MDOC, something comes from Nokia, something comes somewhere. Now, under a consortium approach, everything will come under one roof. So that's a good news. So that the TCOs for the operators will actually go down. So we look forward for deploying 5G NSA by August and 5G SA next year.
So yeah, sure. That's a good and wonderful news, of course, for all of us. So now moving to Mr. Kumar, just wanted to understand from you, because being an head of an organization which is into many projects overseas and locally also, how do you plan to promote local companies in line with Atmanirbhar Bharat? So do you have any action plan in place?
See, TCL has quite good presence in African nations and Middle East countries and in neighboring countries also. And what has been happening in the last 10 or 20 years, this Chinese company has strongly captured these markets. But now we are finding a change in sentiment there, and we see it's a good opportunity for us to export our Indian technologies to these countries and recapture back the markets in telecom and IT domain, particularly Africa nations and Middle East countries.
Okay.
So we'll be using the C-DoT technology products, whichever are available in these countries for deployment of different projects in these countries.
So you are taking ahead C-DoT-Core and other technologies because they have already formed a consortium with TCS. Do you have any aggressive plan in place?
See, this consortium of TCS is, as I understand, is for BSNL project. So the question was maturity or POC of the product, which has been done through as a consortium of TCS, C-DoT, and Tejas.
Right.
So we would like to take it independently, the C-DoT product ourselves, and deploy it in different countries.
Okay. As we talk more on Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliance, so what do you think how Indian companies, like you have mentioned a couple of them, can take advantage going forward and, especially in the areas of next generation of technologies, including 6G?
As you know that India is the second largest telecom market in the world. So far we have been importing the telecom technology. We are actually a big market. But at the same time, given the fact that we are the second largest telecom market, there is also an opportunity for, develop products for our own market, and of course, then we become globally competitive. We can even, export it also. One definite shift that has taken place recently is that, as I mentioned, we have formed the Telecom Standards Development Society. So we have a voice in the global standards bodies, through which now the Indian companies can contribute their IPRs. So that is one part. Second part is that of late there have been a series of policy measures which have been taken by the government, which helps encourage the domestic manufacturing companies. So I think there is a right environment right now for Indian companies to develop world-class products, which can be, of course, deployed in Indian market, which is, as I mentioned, that one of the second largest market, but also become globally competitive. So I think this focus of the government to become self-reliant will give a big push. There is one more reason for the Atmanirbharta in telecom. As you know that as the world is moving towards increasingly digitally connected world, almost all sectors of economy, whether it is retail sectors or banking sectors or transportation sectors or agriculture sectors, health sector, everyone is dependent upon the information and communications technology sectors. And therefore, it is really becoming a lifeline of any country's economy. And therefore, the security of such telecom infrastructure is extremely important strategically. Because, if these infrastructure is not secure, the entire economy can be brought down. And therefore, in order to have a very secure ICT infrastructure, which is touching all sectors of economy, it is important that we deploy the technology which is from a trusted source. And obviously, if these technologies are manufactured domestically by our own Indian companies, then obviously they would be the most secure. So I think that is also another reason to have a push towards the domestic manufacturing companies.
Yeah. So thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, panelists, for sharing your viewpoint. These learnings will definitely help our audiences in taking their enterprise to the next level of growth. Stay tuned, everyone, and keep tweeting using the hashtag 5G Congress.